Jacqueline Hyde, and it is Wednesday, and it is midweek with Moxie. Of course, it's part of our episodes of eating and entertaining, and today we are actually on site to have our little interview at Bad Jimmy's Brewing in, where are we? Ballard. It's a lot of bees, all the things. So, Moxie, you have a show coming up.
Yes, I have a couple.
And it's a virtual show that you're producing, right?
I am. It is actually part of the Keep Music Live. So here in Washington, we're trying to keep our music venues live. So we're doing a virtual show out of Tim's Tavern, which is up in North Greenwood. They call themselves a dive bar, and they have live music 7 nights a week.
7 nights a week.
7 nights a week.
Tim's Tavern.
And they've been going since like the 30s and 40s.
Yeah. They're a staple here in Washington.
They
in the Seattle area.
They are, and so we thought it'd be great fun just to use their venue since they're closed to do our virtual show. They have a great stage, a great live streaming opportunity, and I have 12 incredible performers that are coming to show off their talents for our burlesque show.
Very cool. And how can they get tickets?
You can get tickets by visiting my Facebook page, Moxie Blue Burlesque. You can also go to Eventbrite and search for Fat Bottom Productions, or you can search for WaterWorks, which is the name of our show. Both of those will get you to the tickets.
Very cool. Very cool. And then you said you had other shows.
I do. I have another show that we'll be doing the end of April, so Sunday, April 25th. We'll actually be here at Bad Jimmy's. It's a show, it'll be our third show here at Bad Jimmy's. We call it Behind the Garage Door. So behind me, you can see the garage door. So the audience is out here in the beer garden, and we open and close the garage door for the performers, so we are all inside. And it's a great fun show. We use it to raise funds for a local nonprofit. And then the first Wednesday of every month I also do bingo and beer here at Bad Jimmy's. When we're eventually able to go back inside, we'll be doing bingo and burlesque. And again, every month we raise funds for a different local nonprofit, which is a great way to do it. We've raised almost $3,000 since we've been doing this for the last year.
Yeah, that's very cool. So we are going to try a few of the Bad Jimmy brews and whatnot, and we're going to bring out the brewer here in a hot second.
Hi, we're here with Greg, who is the head brewer at Bad Jimmy's Brewing here in lovely Ballard, Washington. And we brought Greg out to talk to us a little bit more about Bad Jimmy's. So how long has Bad Jimmy's been brewing?
So we've been brewing for a little over 7 years now.
Wow, okay.
Got started December 27th of 2013. Wow, that sounds long ago now.
It does.
But been going strong ever since then.
Great. So what are your goals as a brewery? What are you shooting for?
So as a brewery, and like how my vision has always been is I never saw what I wanted to see in beer. I always wanted to create something more, and like I was taught from a very long time ago how to brew properly, how to do standard styles, and like I always thought that was great, and I always like loved seeing what other people were doing. But beer allows you to do so much more, and I love to cook, and like even before I got into brewing, I loved cooking, and so like I paired those two together to think of like, well, why couldn't I do those together? Why couldn't I create something that's different, that's outside of the box, that is something that nobody's ever seen before? And so like that's what I want to create, and that's what Bad Jimmy's kind of wants to be about, is like throwing out flavors that you really never have seen before.
Right.
It's like that's what I want to do.
Well, and I want to throw this in there too. You guys competed last year at the Strange Brew Fest, which they have every year over in Port Townsend, Washington, and you took away the top prize.
We did, yeah.
And what was that beer? That was fun. That was so different.
So that one was an Imperial Barrel-Aged Fig Scotch Ale was the one that took it down. That one was a beast. I also paired it with a bourbon whipped cream on top, so that was fun. I also did a Glitter Imperial IPA with a hop praline side, which was fun.
So Strange Brew Fest is something you should check out. It is fun. The brews are really out of this world, but I have to say the one that Greg brought, with the side of figgy pudding, was spectacular. So you've gotten into seltzers now too. I do want to talk more about the beer, but you have 3 different seltzers here. You have a prickly pear, a raspberry mojito, and a
Peach hibiscus.
peach hibiscus.
Yeah. So seltzers are something that breweries have just been allowed to actually legally get into this year.
Okay.
And so for me, it's been kind of fun because I've known how to make beer for a long time, and I've known how to make beer weird for a long time. Making seltzers is a brand new thing.
Right.
But it's something that it kind of comes naturally after you've brewed for a long time. It's like there's a lot of very similar things.
Yeah.
And so for me, like getting into the seltzer side of the thing, it almost opened up this whole new world of stuff that I'm already really familiar with because I already want to make things weird.
Right.
And so I already know weird flavor profiles. And so like just the actual basics of making a seltzer to me came very naturally because I know how to make things into alcohol.
And they're gluten-free, correct?
They are gluten-free. Yeah.
So for our folks that can't drink beer because there is gluten in beer, seltzers are gluten-free. It's something different than cider. I tend to find ciders a little heavy and super sweet, but seltzers, I think, especially for me, are great summer drinks. But any time of year, obviously, they're selling really well.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
they've been selling incredibly well, and there's a handful of them that are a little high in ABV. So we're in the process of coining the term Imperial Seltzer, which is going to be that north of 8% seltzer,
Yes.
Which you just don't see very often.
So for those of you that aren't familiar with the terms, ABV refers to how much alcohol content, or so the higher. So 8% is really high. The higher that, and typically the hoppier the beer, the higher the ABV as well.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. So like the hoppiness is solely dedicated to the actual hop content. Your ABV is derived from the amount of grain that you put in, and then that gives you the amount of sugar that your yeasts are allowed to consume.
Okay.
And the more sugar your yeasts are allowed to consume, the more alcohol they put out. There's a lot more that we can jump into, but I'm assuming we don't want to get down that rabbit hole right now.
That's great. So you have a nice selection. You have some lagers. You have, I always like your Bad Light. So if people like a lighter beer, they have a Bad Light. But then you also have some just incredible. You have your coconut vanilla porter, which is super yummy. You have your Imperial IPA. And you have your habanero amber, which is always one of my favorites, and I love to cook with it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have this new one, this grilled grapefruit Berliner Weiss.
Yes.
Where did that come from? That's like my absolute favorite right now. I don't want to tell anybody about it because they'll come and drink it, so it's mine. Don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So a Berliner Weiss is a style that I've known about for a long time, and it's not a style that gets a lot of play.
Right.
But it's a really fun style. So it originates in Germany, and it was originally like a farm workers beer. When there wasn't potable water, they would make beers to take out to their workers because it was more sterile to drink beer than it was to drink water. And so a Berliner Weiss is actually also soured on top of just being fermented. Traditionally, Berliner Weiss is served with a little sidecar of a raspberry lambic. I fell in love with grilling fruit
Yes.
a long time ago to cooking. And so for me, when I was thinking about putting together the Berliner Weiss, I was thinking like it's already a soured thing. So like what can I do that's gonna pair well with that and then have fun with it as well. And so for me, grapefruit is delicious. I love it. But grilling any fruit brings out more of the sweetness to it. So in my brain, like okay, if I take some grapefruit and I grill that, that's gonna actually sweeten it up. It's not gonna be quite as tart and pungent.
It adds kind of a caramely flavor almost to it.
And so it rounds it out a little bit more. And so like I was like, well, I'm gonna make that, and then instead of doing the raspberry lambic, I'll make a grilled grapefruit lambic, which is gonna again have that little bit of sweetness to it, and then ingest going off of there. So like I just thought it would be fun to go that route.
It's great fun. Great fun. Greg, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you guys are gearing up to brew some more beers, so we're looking forward to what else you bring. And so if you ever come down to Bad Jimmy's, you'll see Greg here, especially on show nights. But definitely come down April 25th if you want to check it out. Come down anytime. They're open every day except Monday. And check out the beers that Greg is brewing.
This plate of beer and seltzers. So Moxie, what are we drinking first?
Okay, so we're just trying the Imperial IPA. So as Greg mentioned, Imperial means it has a higher alcohol volume.
Okay.
IPA is an Imperial Pale Ale, so it tends to be hoppier, which means a bit more bitter.
Okay.
So that's something you can also look at if you're wondering how bitter is a beer. You can look at those numbers. Today, this is the first one we're going to try, and it is the Habanero Amber.
It smells like coffee.
It does, doesn't it?
Huh. Yeah, that does have a little spiciness to it.
You get that in the back of your throat.
Right here. Yep. So if you have a cough, this is a really good one.
So ambers are great, but not a lot of people like them. They're not super bitter. They're smooth, but they have a little bit more of a malt flavor. This one has habanero in it, and each batch is going to be just a little bit different depending on how hot the habaneros are that they get. I love the habanero amber. I love to cook with it. So I'll take a pork roast or a beef roast, and I will marinate it in this habanero amber. I'll put it in my crock pot. I'll put it in my Instapot. I love doing it in my Instapot. Add a little bit more of that habanero amber, and it comes out so yummy. You don't get the heat when you cook with it, but you get that deep, rich, malty flavor. It makes great pulled pork tacos. Makes just a great roast. Love the habanero amber.
You could fry it too.
Oh yeah.
You know, chop up some beef and then take some of the mixture, right? And just put that with some chili peppers and some bell peppers.
Yes. Yeah, you could definitely like thicken it and make it more of a sauce. So you could use it like a sauce over something as well. But I love it. It has just enough spice. But yeah, if you don't like spice, don't try the habanero amber. They also will mix this. We'll mix it with their PBJ. So they have a peanut butter jelly, and so they have a peanut butter jelly habanero amber. I'm not a fan of the peanut butter beers, but a lot of people love it. So
peanut butter is actually one of my favorites. Gained 20 pounds with the peanut butter.
Yes. So if you're looking for kinds of foods to pair with an amber, typically, it's a wide range of food, right? So it's the chicken, the seafood. It's really great with spicy cuisine. Although if you're doing the habanero amber, I wouldn't serve it with something spicy. I'd serve it with something that can smooth it out. It's like the pulled pork tacos, a nice roast. If you're looking for just like using it as an appetizer, like a port salut or a really lightly tangy cheese, a harder cheese. And with desserts, poached pears or a banana pound cake or pecan lace cookies. Oh my God, can you imagine?
I'm gonna go home and make things now.
Oh, poached pears with this habanero amber. Ooh,
poached apples too.
Syrup. Oh,
yeah,
yum.
Because you have those soft flavors of pear or apple that you could, even if you put it with a pie crust.
Yes,
that'd be really tasty. So, very good. Well, that was the habanero. Cheers. That's really good. Now we are drinking what?
This is a porter. So porters are very dark. Okay. This is the coconut vanilla porter.
Oh, my husband likes this one.
Yes, so it's really, you can smell it. It's yummy.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
It is.
That would be really good over ice cream.
Yes.
With a coconut ice cream. Or like a praline caramel. You know what I'm saying? Like just scoop. Ooh, maybe a brownie.
Jack's going for all the foods.
I would just want dessert. I like dessert.
Yes.
You know.
So when you're looking at a porter or a darker beer, it's really good with smoked food, so like a barbecue. So this would be really good with like a nice barbecue sauce, tangy sauce, because it's so smooth.
Right.
If you're looking for doing a cheese plate with a porter, it's like a Gruyere. So again, something has a little heavier, but not, you don't want a tang to it, but just something a little smoother. And then chocolate peanut butter cookies, or toasted coconut cookie bars. We're gonna be going home and cooking all of this tonight.
Almond Joys.
Oh my god.
Right now, all I want is an Almond Joy.
Right. And now, so you have a porter, and then you have a stout. So if you're looking at what's heavier, porters are not as heavy as a stout. Stouts are the really heavy beers, and that's what you'll find. Like a Guinness is a very heavy beer. Oatmeal stouts are very popular. I love doing my corned beef and cabbage. We're coming up on St. Patrick's Day. Corned beef and cabbage, I love to cook with Guinness. So I can give you my whole recipe for the best corned beef and cabbage I've ever had. But it is awesome. It's just pack some brown sugar on top of that corned beef. Then you pour in your stout, whether it's Guinness or a local brew, and then you just slow cook it, and it just falls apart. It has such great flavor. It's not sweet, which you would think you would have with that brown sugar, but it just kind of adds an extra depth. So that's the difference. Porters are a little bit lighter. So if you're looking down the list, you have your lagers and your pale ales, and you have your IPAs, and then your ambers, and then we get into the porters, and then the stouts. So that's kind of that.
It's almost hitting rock bottom. Sorry,
Just about.
bad joke.
I know.
Salud.
So, okay, we have moved on from beer. We're going to try out the seltzers. Again, I tend to think of seltzers as more of a summer drink, but they aren't necessarily. They're great for people where gluten is an issue. And if they don't like a cider, because ciders can be heavy. They do have great flavors. There's some great local ciders. But Greg decided that he wanted to try seltzers. So the first flavor he has on his list is prickly pear.
Okay.
So it tends to be a lighter. It's a lighter color. It's still fruit forward.
That'd be really good with chunks of fruit within it, like a slushy almost down at the bottom, like some frozen fruit, like blended.
Like frozen raspberries or something.
Ooh, an adult Slurpee.
Yeah, that's yummy. It's not super sweet, which is nice. So if you're not looking for something like a sweet seltzer, this is a nice one. I like that.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, the next one on our list is the raspberry mojito seltzer. I know, it's like, so let's see, but it's a lighter pink.
Laura.
I smell the mint.
Laura.
Well, that's got a lot of floral to it.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow, it's almost like rose.
Yeah, it is almost a rose. It's not a super strong flavor, so if you're worried about really strong flavors and you're looking for something a little lighter, this would be a great one because it is a lighter.
That'd be really good with tacos.
Yeah. And when you're looking at seltzers and food pairings, a lot of times it's like fish and like fried fish, calamari, shrimp, tossed salads, because it's a lighter food, and so that's also why I always think of summer when I think of seltzers, because of that lighter food profile. You can also do cheeses like a mozzarella, a feta, a queso fresco. So again, thinking about things that would blend with it. You don't necessarily want to go fruit heavy, but you could. You could do
as a dessert or as a straight drink.
Right.
But if you're pairing it with food, you'd want to do, like you said, the calamari. That'd be really good, like a calamari steak flank.
Yes.
With that's been marinated in lime overnight.
That would be really good with either the peach or this raspberry mojito.
That'd be really tasty.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, what's next?
So the last one we are going to sample is a darker flavor, and this one is the peach hibiscus. So we have the hibiscus in it.
I want to cry. This one smells really good. It smells so good. Let's just sit in silence for a moment and honor the. This is really good. Okay, so what would I eat with this?
So this one, to me, just screams summer fruit. You know, so Greg was talking about he loves to grill fruit.
Right.
I think like this is a peach hibiscus, so I think like grilled peaches would be really yummy with this. Grilled peaches with a little bit of ice cream, and then this as your beverage next to it. You know, I'm thinking cheeses as well, but a lighter cheese. You know, something
Camembert.
Camembert, something not a really strong flavor. But yeah, you don't get as much fruit forward with the seltzers as you do with the ciders. So that's something to consider. They're also not sweet. So ciders tend to be very sweet. These are not.
Right.
Which is also something that's a little different and nice.
God, that's so good. That's so good. Okay. And our final piece de resistance. Let's go ahead and pour that one out. And this one is my personal favorite. It is the, that's fine, that's good. Okay.
We have to make sure we're even.
Yeah, this one is really tasty. When we had the show for Behind the Garage Door a couple weeks ago, this was my beverage that evening.
Mine too. And it was brand new.
And it was so good and whatnot. And I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit of the grapefruit in here.
So this is a lambic. This is what Greg was talking about. That is typical to go with sours. So you can either drink it on the side, or you can add it to your beverage. It just adds a little extra flavor. It's a little more sour, but it's also very, very fruity. I love it. I like to drink it just straight.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to pour one out.
But it is, it's very concentrated. So I don't recommend drinking the lambic by itself all the time.
No.
Oh, but you definitely.
I did that at the show. And it was a little much.
Yes.
But I did it after drinking the whole thing. Like I did it as a shooter afterwards. It's
Yes.
like, oh, then it calmed everything down.
With the lambic, you definitely get that grapefruit taste.
So much so.
But yes, definitely cheers.
Cheers.
Happy
This would
hour.
be really good with a sandwich.
What kind of sandwich are you thinking?
I'm thinking of a ham and cheese sandwich on a baguette. Like old school French style. You know, like maybe a little aioli on it.
Yeah.
Not much, you know, but like fresh mayonnaise.
I'm thinking like a barbecue.
That would work too. Yeah. It's a good beach. It's a good beach beer.
It is. It is. You know, you could even do your pulled pork tacos with the habanero amber, and then drink this on the side. It's, you know, it is a Berliner Weiss, so it is different, right? It tends to be what they consider a sour beer. This one is not a sour beer, so you're not going to get that super sour that you get with so many of the German-style beers when they go that direction. And there are breweries here in Washington, especially here in the Seattle area, that focus on those sour beers. But this is not. This is one of my favorites. I hope they still have it this summer because this is my summer beer.
Yeah.
Yum.
Yum. So that is it for this week's second episode of
Wednesdays with Moxie.
yeah, midweek with Moxie for eating and entertaining. Make sure that you stop by your local breweries to pick up your necessary supplies for your cocktails or for your beers before the syndicated soiree on April 17th.
Yes.
And grab those tickets because it's going to be a great time. So, have a good night, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.